Alright, my accounting presentation today is going to be on the first scenario in Chapter 5. It's called the Age-Old Dilemma, and essentially what happens here is Suzanne works for, her job is to analyze some reports, basically go through some credit loans that have been issued and walk through a series of points on each loan. It takes her quite a while to do, and in fact so long that she's starting to get worried. She talks to her senior accountant, who is named Will, and she asks him, how do I get through this workload? And he doesn't outright say that he's fraudulent or that he's skipping over things and cutting corners, but that's essentially what Suzanne gets from the conversation, is that he's making his own decisions on what's right and what's not right, and in that way he's able to reduce his time and get through things quickly. So Suzanne feels pretty uncomfortable. That raised a red flag, talking to him about that, and so she talks to some of her friends. She has 4 friends that she speaks with and asks advice from. And it's interesting, I think, each of their responses have some good advice, well, mostly except for Andrew, the first person she talks to, says, just do what Will is doing. Don't worry too much about it. He understands the business. He's been in it. The credit loans are already assured. You're just verifying things. There's not really. It's pretty, in my opinion, an unethical bit of counsel that she receives from him. But the other ones, they each have their points, and it seems pretty accurate and real to life. People think in different ways, and handling the situation is a tough call. So one of her friends, Boris, he tells her that she should kind of suck it up, bill only for the time that it's supposed to take, and if it takes you longer, do it on your own. Don't tell anyone, just get through it. Kathy tells her that she needs to bill for the full time, take as much time as you need, let the audit manager kind of see. The problem with Kathy's advice is, Suzanne's worried about her job and this, and how long it's taking her, and so that's a risk. Kathy tells her basically just, accept that it takes longer and let the audit manager make the call. Maybe he's not budgeting enough time for the project. Drew suggests that she go directly to work the 40 hours that it's supposed to take, and then to go to the audit manager and don't talk about her conversation with the senior accountant, cover up for him if necessary, but figure out what the audit manager would like her to do. So it's an interesting circumstance, and there's a lot of variations to this, and it definitely has some real-world applicability. So as I began to analyze this and think about what would be the best course of action, so one of the biggest principles I think that Suzanne needs to focus on is painting a clear picture and not hiding things. Not, for example, Boris says just work for the 40 hours and don't tell anyone. Work, just suck it up, and that doesn't fix things, because, if the audit manager doesn't see an issue or any sort of problem, Suzanne's going to keep getting the same workload or an increased workload and have the same issues. It's just going to get more and more intense for her. So essentially, I think I would pick what Kathy said, to bill your full time, do a thorough job, do the work as it was described in the job outline, go through each of those points, and let the audit manager see that this is a job that's taking a while. And then also the audit manager can see, Will is taking a lot less time. Suzanne took this much time. Is there something going on here that maybe I need to examine with Will and the quality of his work, that sort of thing. Really what it comes down to, and it's a hard decision, especially when your job is on the line, but the underlying factor here that Suzanne and all of us can learn from is maintaining your integrity is much more important than meeting a budget or meeting a goal. Those things are important, but if you're sacrificing your ethical resolve to be able to accomplish those things, that's definitely a red flag and something that you need to watch out for. It's an interesting case. There's a lot of variations that I think you can see all over in the real world, and really what I took from the case as I analyzed it is, if if it comes down to risking your job to be ethical, that's what it comes down to, and that's a decision that you need to make confidently, and know that ethics in the accounting profession is more important than keeping a job or making people happy.